Give to the World Ministries welcomes you to another teaching by Ralphena Dotson. Ralphena is well qualified to share the message you're about to hear, as she lives the principles she teaches daily. As you listen, we trust this message will encourage you, help you grow, and develop into maturity as a believer in the kingdom of God. The word you don't know is the word that cannot help you, and the word that doesn't take root can never bring a harvest. Let this message take root in the ground of your heart as you listen to it over and over and take notes. Receive this message. Receive your harvest.
Hey, it's Ralphena. I have been reading over the concept of the Ten Commandments. I found the movie that was being shown, and it was being shown on television, and I taped it, and I didn't get to look at it right away. I just knew that I had access to it. And I was just thinking about how God made clear to us what he wanted us to do. And so just turn in your Bibles to Exodus chapter 20. And let's just read this so that you can know what God really thinks of how we should behave and what we should hold in high regard, because it's held in high regard to him. Now I realize you get over in the book of Leviticus and there's thousands of laws, what you can't do, this, what you can do. But in this place, it is the hand of God that writes this on the tablet so that Moses can share it with the people of God now that they've left the bondage of Egypt. And so verse 20, verse 1 says, God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which hath brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Now, we could think of Egypt as Egypt, a place where the slaves were, or we could think of Egypt as the place where we were before we got an opportunity to have access to the Word of God. Before we got that chance, we were in bondage to sin and to the behaviors, thinkings, and attitudes, and customs and practices that are not pleasing to God. It says, thou shalt have no other gods before me. So that's an indicator that the word God doesn't mean our God. It could mean anything that we want to worship or put before God, and that looks like this in our time. It's just so many things, you know. We make fun of God. People say vulgar things, and you put God in the sentence, which is a shock to me that people would be so fearless concerning the power of who God really is. But anyway, he says, to have no other gods before me. So we can't worship our house and our job and our facelift and our clothes and our car and our swimming pool and our database and we can't worship that stuff, because that's what we're doing. And listen, he says, and thou shalt not make any unto thee any graven image, any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, and that is in the water under the earth. So the pig or the fish or the dragon or the whatever we think is something, we can't make that thing and start to give it our praise, our adoration, our worship. God said, don't do that. That's you're putting yourself in a situation where now they have access to you and can do anything to you they want, because they are not of God, so they're of the devil, and his plan is to steal, kill, and destroy. So here we go. Verse 4 in chapter 20 of Exodus says, thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, any likeness. So he's telling you, don't put. I think about the people with the Ankh. They worship that. They think that's something. The Eye of Horus, and they put that. They tattoo that on. They make the engraven in your skin. Some of you got barbed wire and I guess something that's supposedly is neutral or harmless, but spider webs and snakes and dragons and all kinds of creatures, skulls and crossbones. You got all kinds of stuff. you've engraved in your body. Let's keep going. Thou shalt not bow down to them nor serve them, for I, the Lord, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generations of them that hate me. So God is saying, I don't want you to be in no shape where you're doing the stuff that all the people and all the folks around you are doing. Don't do that. I want your love because I loved you first. I want your compassion. I want your faithfulness. I want your steadfastness. I want your mercy. I want your worship and your adoration to come to me. I remember hearing, well, never mind, I won't say that. Thou shalt not bow down. Then verse 6 says, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. I'm going to show you mercy. I'm going to show you kindness. I'm going to show you. If you just put yourself in a position where you follow me and keep the commandments I give you. I'm giving you ways to do. I'm commanding these things to be in your life. Thou shalt take the Lord thy God, the name of the Lord, in vain. Don't do that. You shouldn't do that. Oh, well, I hear so many people curse God in so many ways. It's unbelievable to me. And I'm just awed. And I have no words to even describe how sad I feel for them. Because they don't realize how serious what they're doing is. And the blatant reverence of nothing. They don't have any reverence, any concern for anything. The spirit of rebellion has convinced them that they have the right to say and do anything they like. You know, freedom of speech. You know, we hear that a lot. Oh, but the power of death and life is in the tongue. And most of us are digging our graves or our children's graves or our grandchildren's graves with our tongue. And we don't even know it. Oh, showing mercy unto thousands of them that I love and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless and take his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day, keep it holy. Now, we have to try and respond to that. And I think part of the problem, the GMOs are in our food, and our plants have to go from organic to uh, chemically modified. The genetics of it is modified because we didn't do what God said do. He said, keep the Sabbath day. That means we don't work on Sunday. So all the working we're doing is destroying and contaminating whatever we're supposed to be a part of. 6 days thou shalt labor and do thy work. But on the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord, and it shall not do any work, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor the stranger that is within thy gates. So God is saying, listen, you need to shut it down one day just to honor me because I'm good. He even said to shut down planting on the seventh year. If you have crop and you do business and stuff, you should do absolutely nothing 1 year so you can allow the ground that needs to be refurbished and restored to excellence and strength and the resurgences of life that come as a result of the rest. It's important. A lot of us never rest. We don't know how to rest. I realize that people say, well, I sleep. No. Sleep and rest are two different things. And I remembered when I was dealing with my husband who was ill at the time, and it was required of me a large amount of time to take care of everything. I had 3 children. I had a husband. I had a very stressful and very taxing job. I drove a long way back and forth from work to home, and I dealt with a lot. And I found myself getting shorted sleep at night. I got to be up at 4:30 in the morning. I got to do this, that, or the other all day long. I wouldn't get back to bed until the night, 12, 1 o'clock at night. And so I remember realizing that I wasn't getting any rest. And no matter how much sleep I got, I felt terrible. And so I remember God saying to me, sleep and rest are two different things. And maybe some of you need to hear this. Some of you need to hear me say this. But I started praying, Lord, can you give me, for every minute of sleep, I need 5 minutes of rest. Rest is so important. I need to rest. My body needs to just rest. It doesn't need to, you go to bed and you got all these things rolling around in your head and your body's all tense and tight and, oh gosh, it's like you lay down and you just lay down under this blanket of weight of concern and fear and anxiety and all this stuff. But I asked God to give me 5 minutes of rest for every minute of sleep. And boy, I'm telling you the truth, he did it. I lay down at 1 o'clock in the morning and get up at 4:30 in the morning, and I felt like I'd been asleep since 8 o'clock the night before. Because he was kind to me. He helped me. See, when you include him, he'll get involved. You just have to trust the fact that he's your God. He's your God. It's not just mine. If you'll take him, if you'll receive him, he's your God. He got things he will do for you. You got to get that. So here he's saying, remember the Sabbath day. Keep it holy. 6 days thou shalt labor. But on the seventh day, and nothing in your house, nobody in your gates should do any work. The Lord said, because in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth and the sea and all that was in, and rested. He didn't say sleep. He said rested the seventh day, which the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. So it is filled with the blessings of God if you will just shut down. Now, I know some of you have Sunday. The Sabbath for you is Sunday, where you worship the Lord. Some of you, Saturday is the Sabbath, you worship the Lord. Whatever day it is, you give it completely to God. Don't wash, iron, cook, go to the mall, shop for groceries, cut the grass. Don't do none of that. Don't do none of that. Let God's day be a holy day. Let it be a day that you give totally to him. It says in verse 12, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the earth which the Lord has given thee. Now, this is something for you. He's telling you now, if you'll do this, you'll have some long days. And if you don't, I'm sorry for you. You won't have long days. You got to honor the people. You said, well, I don't know who my father is. Well, I'll be straight with you. I knew who my father was, but I didn't like who he was or the way he was or anything. But I did show him respect. I did say yes, sir, no, sir, and whatever he said for me to do, I did. And with the exception of one incident, I was totally, completely submitted. But I believe that as a result of my treatment of the people that were in my life, even the ones that weren't kind and weren't helpful, the Lord has honored me with long life. And I don't receive it without gratitude. You talk back to your mom and treat your mom and do anything to your mom you want to do. And I tell you something. The devil is at the end of your life erasing days. You may not know it now, but you will start to know when you're being cheated of something that you feel as though you were due. And it won't be there for you anymore. So just show honor. Just be kind. Just watch your mouth. Don't let hardness build up in your heart. Don't do that. Don't do that. For this sake. Just for this sake. It says, thou shalt not kill. Woo. That's a big one, because this culture, you can turn on the television at 5 o'clock in the morning and until 5 o'clock the next morning. There's some kind of program on about somebody who was killed, somebody who was murdered, somebody who was this, that. And we see that so much, we don't take it seriously. And even the fake killings, the ones that we talk about, and the ones that they put together so you can see, that is a killing of your of the innocence of your eyes. It's just serious. Don't kill. You young people that are fighting each other and standing for your ground and your turf, don't be a part of that, because everybody that does kill, they don't recover from it. They're never the same. They're never the same. They're never the same. These guys come back from the war, they're not the same. These guys that go to prison for doing stuff, they're not the same. They're just not. And it takes a toll on you in a way that's just overwhelming. And there's no way you can defend yourself against it, because you have done what God said do, taken a life. That's very hard to do. Thou shalt, oh, well, I might as well tell you. When I was a kid growing up, my father had said so many mean things to us and so many mean things to my mother, and he'd caused me so much pain. I put some rat poison in some spaghetti for him to eat. And I was about 15 years old. And I put this rat poison in the spaghetti, and I was thinking he'll be dead and we won't have to deal with him, and he won't be saying cruel things to my mother, and he won't be mean to me, and I'll just be finished with him. And I don't even care, he's going to die. He deserves to die. So I put the rat poison in the spaghetti, and I encouraged him to eat it, and he was drinking. So he didn't even notice it looked funny. It was even looking funny, but he was eating it, you know. And in the next, I guess I went to bed that night, and I was kind of thinking, boy, this is going to be great. We're going to get rid of him. And about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, I heard him in the bathroom throwing up. I heard him throwing up. And I thought to myself, he didn't die? Oh, he didn't die, Lord. I hate him. I wanted him to die. Well, he didn't die. And I had to deal with the fact that I had tried to kill him. As I grew older and started to see more about what life was about, I was so grateful he didn't die. Oh, I would have ended up going to prison. I wouldn't have never been able to find my path in life. I would have just gone down the wrong road forever. I thank God I got a chance to see him in a loving way before he died. Don't kill. Just don't. Don't even think about it. It's a terrible thing to do, and you don't recover from it. You're never free from it. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Oh, wow. Now we're messing up here. This is too much. The TV tells you can do anything you want. We got the Bachelor and the Bachelorette, and they just, the Paradise, and just all kinds of things that you can just do and be, and ways that you can, and it doesn't matter that you've had an adultery, that you've committed adultery, that you have a mate, or that the person you're with has a mate. That's a very serious thing to do. God says, don't do that. You're breaking a bridge of accountability and of purity. You're making a covenant on legal territory, and you're contaminating the life of the person you're with the sin of lust and perversion. Think about it. Think about it. Thou shalt not steal. Oh, wow. We just almost have to shut the world down, huh? There's just not anybody that's not stealing. Stealing is just the way you get away, get over. This is the way you get what you want. Just take it. It doesn't have to be yours. All you have to do is be smart enough to get it. Find a way to get it. Find a way to take it. Find a way. You can find a way. Yeah, shoot. If it's out there for you, take it. When I was a kid, we grew up in the ghetto of Chicago, and I don't even think we had a lock on our door. I know our back door wasn't never locked. Oh, you walk out on our porch and sit down out there on the back porch, and it just wasn't. There was thieves, but there weren't many. Now little children steal. I mean, they steal from each other. In class, they steal from each other. The teachers steal from each other. The doctors steal from each other. The lawyers steal from each other. The judges steal from each other. All the people that's supposed to be good people, great people, strong people, excellent people, people of example and the prestige, they steal. And they don't think nothing of it. They think it's a good thing because I got it now. It's mine. Oh, God, it's so horrible. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Don't tell stuff on your neighbor. How do you know? Well, I saw it on the internet. So that makes it true? No. I saw Mr. So-and-so with Miss So-and-so. I saw Mr. So-and-so. I saw Miss So-and-so do this. I heard this. I heard that. Most people talk about what they heard. And not hardly anything they saw, but they heard it. God said, don't do that. Keep your mouth shut. I think about those talk shows where the people talk about folks. Lord have mercy, God. I don't know what to tell you about that. And they don't have no fear. They think they're doing good because they're making money. Oh, the Nation and the TMZ and the Wendy and the, oh, God. Why? Why do you think that's so good? I don't know, but it's serious. You don't know the whole truth. You're not there. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. I have a friend, a wonderful woman of God. Been serving the Lord a long, long time, serves God's people even as we speak. But she told me about how she came home, she and her husband came home one day, and they had a really nice Cadillac. And they were enjoying their car, and they pulled up on the parking space on their driveway, and there was a car sitting next to them at the neighbor's house that had this fabulous, just a fabulous car with this brand new sticker in the window. Oh, it was brand new. And they went in the house and looked out the window at the car, and they discussed it. Now, how do you think they got that new car? That's a beautiful new car. That's a nice car. They had a nice car before, but they got a new car now. And so now they're becoming less and less satisfied with their new car. So they start to think, maybe we need to go on because we can't let him have a brand new car. We got this old car. Well, their car was an excellent car, beautiful car, new car basically. We can't let him have a bigger car, better car than us. So they said they decided they would go out and they would buy themselves a new car. So they gave up their great car and got a car they really couldn't afford. It was greater than the car in the driveway that they were admiring. But they couldn't afford it, and they didn't really even as much like it as they liked their own car, that beautiful car they had. But they couldn't let this man next door have more, a better car than them. So they just went ahead and they just signed the papers and they got the car. And so now they got a bigger car than his new car, and so they feel better because it's, we got to keep up with the Joneses if we don't do nothing else in this life. So after a day or two, they had their new car, and they looked out, they didn't see the new car with the tag in the window that belonged to the neighbor. And the next day they didn't see it, and the next day they didn't see it. So they were coming in at the same time as the neighbor a few days later, and they said, hey, how you doing? Oh, we doing great. So they said, well, we're admiring that beautiful new car you got. That's a beautiful car. And the man said, oh, you saw the car in my driveway? Yes, we saw it. It was so fabulous and great. He said, oh, that was my brother that was visiting here. And, he lives in another state, and he just came down to see us. But that new car was his. I still got the car I had. But I see you guys got a new car. And they're standing there sick on the stomach with a car note bigger than they could afford, with a car they really didn't like as much as they liked the car they got rid of to get it, knowing now that they were admiring and coveting a car that was not even the neighbor's. You'll find yourself in a situation where something you're doing is stupid. And you don't realize it because you allow yourself to covet stuff. It said, thou shalt not cover anything that belongs to thy neighbor. And all the people saw the thunderings and the lightnings and the noise and the tremblings of the mountain and the smoke, and the people saw it. They removed and stood afar. I don't know what it is happening in your life and in your situation, but let people see the lightning and the thunder. Let them see you say no. Let them see you walk away. Let them see you refuse to participate. Let them see you stand for the things that God said do. The things he said were for your good. They were for your good. If you do these things that God said do, you will live and not die, but have the mercy of the Lord as your testimony. If you'll be obedient and do it with a good heart, God says the willing and the obedient eat the good of the land. I just want you to be encouraged today. All the people saw the thunderings and the lightnings and the noise and the trumpets and the mountains smoking. I want people to see the change in me. I want them to see the change in my walk and the change in my talk. I want to pass up the opportunity to speak a word that has prickers and thorns and claws on it. I'll tell you off. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Let it go. Let God defend you. Let his warring hand come to your aid, speak in your behalf. We got to make people see God, and he can't see him unless he's looking at us. So we got to make people see God, just doing what God said do. I'm telling you, if we'll say, oh, Sunday, we're not doing nothing Sunday. That's our Sabbath. We're just going to rest and give God praise and have a good, lovely meal and rest. And we can't do it on Sunday. We'll see you next week on maybe Saturday. Make it clear that you're serving the Lord with your life. Make it clear that you're an extremist, somebody who will go overboard to make it clear. And by doing that, God will show himself mighty in your behalf. I love you. We'll talk soon. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.